All right, colleagues, we are going to be using exam questions to learn. This is what I promised you last time. We will be using exam questions, preparing you for the exam from the word go. And so I have a series of questions with me here. Question number 1 is what we're looking at as for all today. It says, and I read in your hearing, define strategy using the Mintzberg framework. The Mintzberg framework defined strategy. So we want you to define strategy. I want you to pay attention to how the strategy is defined. Okay. Once you are done defining a strategy, the second thing that you'll be required of doing is to differentiate between strategic planning, strategic decisions, strategy, and tactics. Did you hear that one? There are 4 things. There is the strategic planning, there is a strategic decision, there is a strategy, and there are tactics. You have to show the relationship between these and show us how different they are from each other. Then after that, you'd have already defined, of course, what a strategy is according to Mintzberg framework. Then you'd have done the requirements of the course. Today, we are just focusing on the strategies. Mainly, we are talking about the strategy, strategic planning, strategic decisions, and the tactics. 4 things. What did I say? Strategy. Strategy, right? Strategic planning, right? Strategic decisions, and tactics. Tactics. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the things that we want to discuss. And I want you to pay so much attention. We want people to know that you went to the best university when you just stand and provide leadership. Let's start from a strategy. What is a strategy according to Mintzberg framework? Now you pay attention. Now, a strategy is just a specific maneuver intended to outwit an opponent, right? This is how it is. It is a pattern, or a strategy is basically a stream of actions that demonstrate consistency in behavior. All right? And it is basically, the idea or the process of locating an organization in an environment. And finally, a strategy is a concept or an ingrained way of perceiving the world. So sophisticated, right? Let me begin by underscoring to you that, colleague, a strategy actually it's not an English word. Okay. Did you get that one? A strategy is not an English word. This word, it was not originally from English. Actually, it was first used in army, right? Strategy was first used in what? In army, right? Would you ask Vivian to mute her mic? Okay, that's fine. A strategy was first used in what? In army. Do you know what this term meant? That time it was about studying your opponent, what they are doing, right? What they are doing, and calculating your actions to just ensure that you are able to compete with them and defeat them. You get the point, right? That was the idea. It was about looking at the opponent. What are they doing? What are they using? What actions are they following so that you counteract that? Okay, you produce your own actions calculated to ensure that those opponents are defeated. That is according to the original understanding. So basically, you are trying to come up with a stream of actions that should demonstrate consistency in your own behavior and ensure that you locate an environment in an organization. So in simpler terms, a strategy, basically, these are action plans, all right? These are action plans calculated to achieve a certain goal. Now, when Ms. Beck was defining this, you had in mind the understanding that for you to achieve the goal, the objectives, let's have objectives here. 1, objective 2, objective 3. And you are standing here, right? Then there are these roads that you should take. Then there are also the barriers, right? The barriers, these are walls, right? So strategy, this is where you are, this is you. It's about how are you going to achieve these objectives, 1, 2, 3. Bearing in mind that it is not straightforward. It's not that easy. It's not just you go, you catch. There are some obstacles. There are some challenges that you have to meet along the way. Now, those challenges, according to him, he likened them to the opponents. You understand? The struggle that you get to have when you are, when you are in some antagonism with your opponents, right? There is that competition you have, there is that opposition you get to have. This is the one that Misbeth talked about, that you don't just achieve the strategies straight without putting any effort. So that's why he emphasizes on the issue of the opponents. According to him, the opponents in this case, these were just the challenges, right? They're basically the challenges that you face when you want to achieve the goal. And so it becomes very important. I get that you are listening to me carefully. It becomes very important from practice that when you're designing a strategy, you got to be aware of the challenges or the things that can affect you not to achieve that goal. You want to get an A+, that's a good thing, but you should be aware. There are some of the challenges that you'll meet along the way, or the things that are calculated to ensure that you don't achieve that one. And that is calculated by your opponent. In this case, your opponent may not be human. These are just challenges, the nature. So how do you get to find there? You need to be aware of those obstacles. That's why in a strategy formulation, I'll show you, we begin by sitting down, analyzing, and after analyzing, then we know exactly what are some of the prospect challenges, the challenges that we expect. We anticipate some challenges and we list them down. We say, okay, we have planned, we want to achieve this. What are some of the things that will hinder us from achieving what we want to achieve? Those are the opponents that you're trying to talk about. That kind of opposition before you reach to the final goal. And that's a perspective that Misbeck was trying to flash here as he was giving us this understanding. He was trying to give us that understanding and just to give us that enlightenment. Are we okay? Have you known what a strategy is? Hello? You know what a strategy is? In simpler words, it's a set of actions, an action plan to achieve a set goal or objective, right? The actions, what you're going to do, the actual thing that you're going to do, that is a strategy. All the wishes that you have about the goals without strategies, they are just mere wishes. If you can say you want to get an A+ without a strategy, without asking us how, telling us how, you're just lying. Those are vague aspirations, right? And all the correct and the right aspirations should be actually properly, or all the right goals, they should be attached, should be supported, backed up by well-calculated strategies. Are you okay? Hello, are we there? Are we still
Yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are following.
Okay. So please, we emphasize that at personal level, even at an individual level, never dare to say you want to achieve something without a strategy. And actually, if anything, when you want to say, for example, you want to build a house, let me just start from personal level. You want to buy a plot, you want to save, you want to do whatever. Please, there must be a strategy. Sit down. What do you think are possible challenges? You start from the identifying your opponents. This is according to the angle of Misbeck. He says, identify your opponents. What are your opponents? Have already said those are challenges, anticipated challenges, as that will pressure you as you are trying to achieve this particular goal. So it becomes very important to start from there in everything. Even at managerial level, as you manage, you promise the people you want to increase the level of sales, right? We want the sales to increase, maybe by 50% or by 100% or whatever percent, by 70%. We are just making 100 sales. We want the sales to be 300, right? This is multiply over 200%. But the question is, this is a good objective, right? But the question of the day is how. This is the most important. If there is no how, we are just lying to ourselves. And again, when we ask ourselves, we should pay attention to what do we think will hinder us. That's the most important question you ask yourself in strategy formulation. Okay, this has been understood. Is there any question here? Have you gotten this one clearly? You know what a strategy is, right? Oh, now you know what a strategy is. The second question was saying, differentiate between strategic planning, strategic decisions, strategy, and tactics. 15 of them. Now, let's start from strategic planning. Colleagues and friends. The process that is aimed at achieving an enterprise mission, objectives, by ensuring that you employ these resources, of course, with the opportunities and threats in the business environment available, that is called the strategic planning. Okay, so strategic planning is basically a process calculated at achieving the enterprise mission and objectives, by of course recording and getting all the resources available and paying attention to the opportunities and threats in the business environment. Last time, actually, I invested a lot of energy trying to explain to us the meaning of mission and objectives. What did we say last time about mission? That was the last class we had. What is a mission? What did we say a mission is? Anyone? What did you say about mission or a mission? What is a mission? What's the purpose of a mission, really? Why do organizations have missions? Hello. What is a mission? Am I logged out? What did we say a mission is? What's a mission?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
From what I can remember, we discussed that the mission is the core purpose the organization exists.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much. Thank you for that one. That's what we said, isn't it? We said this is the whole reason as to why this firm, this organization is exist, what it is there for. Why is it really there? Why does it exist as a mission, right? And what was said about objectives? We talked about a mission, a vision last time, I think. All right. So now when you have that process that is aimed at achieving the mission, the objectives of the enterprise by paying attention to the opportunities and the threats. Remember, you identify only the opportunities and threats by doing analysis. And we'll talk about analysis very soon. That is called the strategic planning, not just mere planning. Any planning that does not involve analysis, it is not strategic. Did you get that one? If you're just planning without paying attention to opportunities around the threats that may be available, then that is not strategic planning, okay? Real strategic planning ensures that you have all that. What are strategic decisions now? These are decisions that determine the overall direction of an enterprise, right? And the ultimate, ultimately they give us actually the light of the predictable, and the unpredictable and the unknowable changes that occur, okay, in the environment's most important surrounding. That's what it is. Strategic decisions, there are those decisions that determine the overall direction of an enterprise. Those decisions that help us to determine the overall direction of an enterprise, please, they are strategic decisions, right? Very strategic. They are properly aligned to the strategy. Now, what about the tactics and the strategy? Tactics are short-term decisions made in response to changing circumstances as to make the best use of existing resources. Sometimes this is known as operational planning. You understand? Setting up the tactics, very short-term, okay? Short-term. We are trying to respond to the changing environment or those new occurrences, right? So now, when you are forming these strategies, we must break down, right, these actions that we put into the less generalized operating and tactical plans that are designed to implementing the strategic plans of top management. Remember, the strategic plan is designed by the top level management. That's what we communicated last time. And so you will see that when the real strategy has been given, the major and the bigger strategy, it has to be broken down into small, actions, the daily actions that have to be done on a daily basis. So the technical plans will relate to the limited functional areas, for example, finance, production, purchasing, marketing, right? Tactical plans are down here. They are down at operational level, usually daily, to do all those things. Of course, they can be changing. Oh, today we are doing this. Oh, today it has rained, so we had planned to do this. Okay, what are we going to do? But ultimately, this may not really be very permanent. You're trying to do everything and changing according to the changes in the environment, but everything should be properly aligned to the main strategy so that ultimately the strategy can be done. So basically, that is the message being sent across. Did you get that one? Do I have any questions? So
it's clear, sir.
So in planning, when you are doing strategic planning, you form these strategies. We'll show you that a strategy, actually what runs an organization, you know that it's not a person. What runs an organization, colleagues, is documents, these same documents we're talking about. You have the documents like a strategic plan, right? Even the nations have strategic plans. You know that? A strategic plan at national level. If a nation can have a strategic plan, then an organization should have one. Even a family should have one. Even an individual should have one. Right? Someone will say, sir, you are now sounding motivational, right? No, I'm being practical. I'm not motivational. If nations plan, they have the strategic plans, they are already viewing the life of the institution of the nation in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years from now, peak days. You get the point. You should also, as a firm, think in that long term. Commonly for organizations, usually these small organizations, SMEs, they have 3 years strategic plan, minimum usually, start from 3 years. 3 years strategic plan, 5 years strategic plan. They're able to see themselves 5 years from now already, right? Already they're able to see themselves. And even as an individual, if you remember very carefully, if you remember very well, there's some of you that attend interviews, right? The HRs are here. Some of you are HRs. There is one funny question that people ask. How do you answer this question? And this question, actually, almost all the interviews that we have interviewed people usually ask them this question. What is the importance of this question? I want the HRs to mention, just to participate in this. The question is, where do you see yourself in 3 years from now? What about 5 years from now? As an individual, how important is that question to an individual who is being asked? Anybody? You can turn on your mic and just get to mention. Why do you think that question is important? And also, let's start from the organizational point of view. Why do you think you ask people like that? Why do you think you have to ask someone where they see themselves? Just turn on your mic and give us this one. The question is twofold. Number one, why is it important to an individual? Number two, why do you think the question is important? The answer to the question is important to the institution. Is it important for us to know how somebody see themselves 3, 5 years from now? Right? It's not only HRs, there are managers in here, there are directors. Yes, sir. Mr. Ngolube, your mic is on. You can start.
Yeah, I think more especially that if you are engaging someone, that question is important in the sense that you'll be able to gauge if someone is looking forward, because you might be employing someone whereby you employ them today, then tomorrow they are maybe resigning to some extent. So you don't waste your resources on someone who maybe in 1 week time or 1 month or 3 months is going to resign. So that question, it's very critical because like we are learning about strategy. It's more like we are asking someone to say, what have you planned, for the next 3 or 5 years? So if someone fails to answer that one, it means he's not strategic in the way he manages himself. So if a person is failing to answer that question, it means even if they are given a role, it means they might not be able to accomplish that, because as a business, it is run on a going concern. Yes. I think that's what I can say.
Thank you very much. What about others? Thank you. That's a question. Even ladies can represent us. Nasilele, what do you think about this? Sorry to put you on the spot. Hello? Any other person to just mention, what do you think?
I think in terms of when it comes to the organization, I think it helps the organization to plan and maybe strategically place you in positions where you'll be able to grow or align with their strategic plans or their strategic, I don't know how to put it, strategic activities.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much for that one. Thank you. All right. What about to an individual? How important is that question to you? All right. Thank you so much for all those that have attempted. Yeah, basically, colleagues, this course is much more practical than any other, maybe we would say so. In the meantime, very applicable even at individual level. If you can live life without, and let's be very honest, let's be honest, colleagues and friends, there are very few people that are really, I mean, in our country, I have this experience of, I have been teaching for some time. There are few people that really have a plan, 3 years plan from now. That's why you have people that meander around, they go left and right. You get? They can't see themselves anywhere. You get the point, eh? There is no plan anywhere, like no plan. We ask you, where do you see yourself 3 years from now? So we want you to be very honest. If you never had that plan, start seeing yourself somewhere. Eh? That's the agreement. Okay? Get it there. This is not motivational speech. This is a class. We are let's be practical ourselves first at the individual level. Then we can manage to be very practical and use it when it goes to the organizations. Yeah. How can you be a manager who doesn't have a diary? Where do you write? You don't write anything. You get the point. Plan, put things in writing, and also plan at organizational level. So that's the message we are sending across as for this evening. Are there any questions? Any questions?
From my end, it's clear, sir.
All right.